Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing, and this is the second part of the backyard tour. The first segment I went that way and went across the deck and around, and this time I'm going to go out this way. So we have a little tiny flower bed right here. It does not grow well. It's high traffic for the dogs. You can see I have the shorter version of a grass right here. This is, I think, blue fescue. It turns a nice pretty blue later in the year. And then a very, very sad looking, what are those? Something orange. It'll come to me. I think Mexican orange. They're big and beautiful. Those are kind of tired. You know, it's just after winter. Give them some time. So over there, they're big and beautiful. But that one, quite honestly, it has a really hard life because the dogs run back and forth. That's why I have a giant rock, a solar light, some yard art, and that cement finial because I'm trying to keep that under control. Okay, so we have a bunch of cute succulents right here, and they come out in beautiful colors later in the year. It's still early. And then the grass is chopped down. The grass probably needs to go. It's a very small flower bed and it's just not fitting. And then there's this giant rosemary. Okay, look at that. There is a hummingbird that comes several times a day and visits this rosemary, and that's my craft room door right there, so I can sit in there. I don't know if you can see Wilson in the doorway. He's having a fit. I can sit in there and watch the hummingbird. So the rosemary is ridiculously overgrown. It's totally out of control, but I love it. It makes that little guy happy, and I don't really do bird feeders, so that's his bird feeder. Later in the year, right now there's just a bucket of dirt sitting there, but later in the year there's a fountain right here, plugs in right there, gives nice white noise, kind of cuts down on things. This is sort of a sad little flower bed. What I want you to see in my yard is I don't really do annuals. I don't think I do any annuals. I try to keep it really low maintenance. So you'll see repetition of the same plants. That one my husband trimmed, so if you can see, you're supposed to leave them like a foot tall. I think that one's about 6 inches on that side. But again, it's probably time to thin or remove, so that's okay. I do like this one because it comes up and it hides that gutter, so that when I look out from the deck, I don't see the gutter. Not that that's a big deal. The shutter was sort of a project that got a little sideways from me. I don't take it in the winter. I don't water it enough. I just don't take that good a care of it. But what I do is I freshen up the succulents when it's time. This is another sad project, dead tree in a pot. And then when later in the spring, this whole flower bed will be covered with hostas, cute little short hostas. I love hostas, okay? I mean, I love hostas the same as I love my royal blue. So when I was working on my yard, I don't like things overplanted or overgrown, but you can't have too many hostas is my rule. And here's another camellia. This one's bigger, but not blooming at all. So we'll see how that pans out. Then grasses, a vine maple. Sounds like somebody's doing some work today. Another grass. Another one of those star, what are they called? I want to say star jasmine. That's not right. Star something that I showed you in the other video. And then here, I'm standing under it, so I'll have to stand back. This pergola, I'm going to blind you if I'm not careful, has an evergreen clematis on it. And the evergreen clematis, I think it's about, there we go, there's a good view for you. I think it's about 3 years old now. It's had a little bit of freeze, but it's done okay. It, again, dogs, right? It has a little bit of a disadvantage because right here, this is the most exciting area of our yard. See where this new fence is? My dog and the dogs that live there have some manners issues to work through. So Wilson will run back and forth across this section of grass like 100 times given the choice, or this section of dirt. There's a hosta that grows down there. So later in the year it comes up, this protects the vine, this comes up, that thing leafs out and gets all its lower branches broken off. But the soil here is very compacted, and you can kind of, maybe you can't see, there's a trail right here. It's like a hiking path right over the top of another hosta down there. So again, compacted soil is sort of problematic. I should probably get a little fence and put it across there. I had bed frames. See that bed frame right there? And then there's another one over there. I had them back there, but when my husband redid that fence, he moved them. I don't know what he's protecting by having the bed frame right there, and there's nothing growing on it. You have to come out and reorganize. Another trick that I do, this is the dog owner trick. This is Autumn Joy, I think, and it blooms in the autumn and it's beautiful. Normal people would have deadheaded this by now, okay? So if you look at it, this plant it comes up to like my thigh, and I don't take out the edges. You see what I've done? I've cut out the middle, so there's absolutely nothing around the top. I can take the camera, sorry, you might get sick, and take it all in the top. But I leave the edges because then Wilson won't run over the top of it. It's like the stupidest, silliest thing. I mean, they're brittle, they'd break off in 2 seconds. He could clear them all out, but he won't. So I wait, and then as they start to fill in and get taller, I'll take all of those out. But for now, I just leave the edges all winter long because I don't have enough. Like, this lavender has gotten bigger, so I can move these now, but I don't have enough random metal items. Like, I can put this one over here. I don't have enough random metal items to just put stuff all over the yard. Does that make sense? So if a plant can help me, I leave it. So you'll notice over here on this hosta, same thing. I trimmed them down, but I left it because, believe it or not, a 10-inch thing, he'll go around. It's ridiculous. Here, this is another, I'll get you in the shade so you can see better maybe. Okay, so from back behind the bus stop, he comes around right here and he goes right through here every time. So there's a worn spot, and this tree probably, this dogwood probably isn't taking in as much water as it should be. Those grasses will pop up and fill in. That pot has honeysuckle probably growing in it. I'm using the term growing pretty loosely. The fence is ugly, sure, but that's not why it's there. It's there because I think something lives right behind that fence. Like, the neighbors probably have a wood pile or something. So he is in that spot all day long, and it needs to be covered up. Again, this is all dog management. We need a new fence, but I am forever grateful that I didn't put a new fence in because Wilson would have destroyed it. Okay, this is my third kind of grass, and this is actually the only one that remains because the other ones, well, Wilson peed on them till they gave up. It's, can you see in the sun? It has a gorgeous, there we go. You can see it's variegated. And this time of year it doesn't, there we go. It doesn't look great, but later in the year it will be. And then I get my mosses mixed up and they don't look very good this time of year. This is the more yellowy one. I think the Scotch moss, right? The Irish moss is, or the other one, as long as I have the names right, is super green. And I like the yellowy one next to the lawn. It makes it look better. Okay, this is my succulent bed that I did a video on. And if memory serves me, that video, well, yeah, because my channel hasn't been around 2 summers. So this bed is only 1 year old. And this is its first winter. I think it's wintering okay. It looks a little thin. It has a ton of these tree things that I'll have to like pick out or ignore, or hopefully things will grow over. And then this spot right here, I had something in there that I did not think would winter. So I just pulled it out, put this plastic thing in, hold the spot, and I'll swap it back later. And this is affectionately termed the bus stop. In the summer, I put a pad on that bench, and the roof is clear, so it gets a little dirty looking. And my husband built this. So he built this for me, kind of exactly what I asked for. And then he also built that pergola. So we've done a lot of different projects out here. Oh, and that back there, I didn't show you guys up close, but it's a gate so that you can get into the side yard and Wilson can't get back there. There's just a really weird shadow right now. Wilson likes to go over there and bark at the neighbor and check on everybody's walk. And so it's just better if he can't go back there. And there's Pooh Bear, our little old lady. She's kind of like a shadow. If you're with her, she doesn't say a word. She's silent. You don't even notice her. But if you get separated from her, whew. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tour and that we'll have some great weather and things will pop up, and by May it'll look completely different. Bye-bye.